The genius elementary school student plotting world domination, Kira Daidoji. Despite her age, she already has a PhD. She is not messing around. She's condescending, domineering, dismissive, and aggressively convinced of her own superiority. At just 10 years old, she graduated from the Massachusetts Elemental Institute of Technology and obtained a doctorate in spirit physics. Her greatest invention is the autonomous ether conductor. Basically, it's the giant blue slime she fights inside. After earning her PhD in America, she returned to Japan and was placed back in elementary school despite her intelligence. This made her a little angry, so naturally her response was to begin plotting world domination. And she is not kidding. The plan ended in failure, but glad to see she isn't thinking small, I guess. She even carries around a notebook titled 365 Days to World Domination. As you'd imagine, this book contains all of her plans. She has an entire strategy mapped out, and she fully intends to carry it through. She understands that if you want to control society, you need to control information and what people believe. Intellectually, she can compete with Ming Fang and Catherine. She can analyze supernatural phenomena, develop advanced ether-based technology, and even the Ministry recognizes her as enough of a threat to detain and prosecute her. During combat, she enters the etheric slime she created and has it fight on her behalf, compensating for her small stature. The slime is basically a programmable, shape-changing, etheric wrestling blob. It doesn't really have a name, by the way. Her arcana is Niptra, the arcana of water. Niptra was once the largest ancient fish in the world, and, much like the plant, eventually ascended into a higher order spiritual existence. So why does this enormous ancient fish lend her its power? Because she's entertaining. I'm not joking. The fish basically lends her strength on a whim. Among the people she knows, two of the only ones she seems to genuinely respect are Ming Fang and Catherine, another child genius. Essentially, Kira seems to respect people who can actually match her intellectually. They were also her friends during her university days. In fact, during the first game, one of the major reasons Kira decides to fight this bitch is because she kidnapped Ming Fang and used her as part of her project. Naturally, she refuses to simply admit that she's worried about her friend. Instead, she plays it off as rescuing her so that she'll owe Kira a favor afterward. Beyond that, she's also still pursuing her own world domination project, so she essentially runs into an actual villain while carrying out her own extremely stupid supervillain plot. By the time of the second game, the Ministry is basically just sick of her shit. She's taken into Ministry custody, but rather than simply imprisoning her, they offer her a deal. Help resolve the spiritual incident threatening Kanto, and the charges against her will be dropped. She's basically doing community service. Her reasoning for getting involved in the third game is somehow even pettier. The Rosenberg branch invited Ming Fang and Catherine to participate in its supernatural research and response apparatus, but not Kira. So she enters the dimensional distortion crisis with two objectives: deal with the distortions and get revenge for being excluded from Rosenberg. A young mad scientist, sorta tsundere, would-be world conqueror who fights inside a giant slime. Fascinating.